For nearly half a century, American veteran Bob Nore tried to forget the time he spent serving in Vietnam.
Come up there, get a line. Move it up there. You got your squad and tie in to the left.
To him, those years were a dark chapter that left behind only trauma, depression, and a sense of being lost after the war. But at the age of 66, a DNA test unexpectedly uncovered the past Bob had spent 45 years trying to bury. He discovered that he had a son in Vietnam, a child born from a brief relationship between Bob and a Vietnamese woman during the war. What left Bob speechless was not only the fact that he had a child he never knew existed, but that somewhere out there, for nearly half his life, his son had grown up never knowing who his father was. Little did Bob know, the very period he had wanted most to erase from his life would end up leaving behind the most meaningful thing he had ever known. Bob said emotionally, "Maybe, in the end, something good did come out of that war." 45 years later, American veteran discovers he has a son in Vietnam through DNA testing. That afternoon in April 2016, Bob Nore sat in front of his computer inside his home in Huntsville, Alabama. He had retired after many years working as an engineer, and his later years had been passing by rather quietly. One day, Bob told his wife Debbie that he was very curious about his family tree, so she secretly gave him an Ancestry DNA test kit as a Christmas gift. Bob was excited and sent in a saliva sample for testing. The first results showed that he had British and Northern European ancestry, which did not surprise him at all. But that day, when he logged into his Ancestry.com account, most of what he saw were distant relatives, cousins he had never met who had also submitted DNA samples. Then one notification left him completely frozen. "We have found a very high probability of a father-son relationship between you and son Vo." Bob stared at the computer screen, feeling as if he could barely breathe. The name son Vo immediately brought back memories of Vietnam, a period of his life he had spent the past 46 years trying to forget. The Amerasian son who spent 45 years searching for his father in America. For 45 years, son Vo had always carried questions about his biological father. His mother, Vo T. Nguyet Van, married an American man in 1973. Then on April 22, 1975, just 2 weeks before the fall of Saigon, the family left Vietnam for the United States when Son was only 4 years old. In Son's memory, that fateful day was something he could never forget. Son recalled, "At the airport, people were screaming and reaching out to the soldiers. They were pulling on the barricades, crying and begging to get through the checkpoint. Right before we reached the gate, my mother stopped, knelt down in front of my brother and me, and said, 'No matter what happens, do not let go of my hand, okay?' In the end, the three of them made it safely to America. But tragically, only 3 years after arriving in the US, his mother died from a brain tumor. Son suddenly became an orphan with neither a mother nor a father, and was placed into the foster care system. Lonely and lost, Son always wondered why he only had a mother, and who his father really was. Where was he? He said that all his life, he had dreamed of finding his father, but his mother passed away without leaving behind any information that could help him search. As an adult, Son became a musician in Los Angeles and eventually got married. But the desire to find his father never disappeared, until one day, after feeling that the hope was simply too far out of reach, Son finally decided to give up. That was when his wife Julie bought him a DNA test kit and convinced him to try one more time. After submitting the sample, he waited for more than a year and a half with no answers. He began to feel that finding his father was impossible and accepted that he truly needed to let go. For an entire month afterward, he did not even check the messages on the website anymore. But one day, for some reason he still cannot explain, Sun decided to log back in and check the results one more time. That was when he discovered a notification saying a matching DNA result had been found. Emotionally, he shared, "To me, this is nothing short of a miracle. I never even dared to dream something like this could happen." Still, part of Sun could hardly believe it. He said, "At first I thought, what if this is some kind of scam? I didn't know who he was. What if he was an alcoholic or a veteran suffering from psychological trauma after the war?" Dark memories of Vietnam. At the same time, after receiving a notification from the DNA system saying that he could possibly have a son in Vietnam, Bob was almost completely frozen in shock. He tried to remember the Saigon of long ago, the streets, the bars, the women he once met. But the memories had all become blurred with time. Bob only remembered that he had been very young back then, and that period of his life was something he had spent nearly half a century trying to forget. Bob grew up in North Dakota. After losing his scholarship to North Dakota State University because of his reckless youth, he decided to enlist in the military and was sent to Vietnam in 1969 at just 20 years old. There, Bob worked in preventive medicine for the U.S. Army, inspecting disease-carrying insects around American military bases in Bien Hoa and Long Binh. But the longer he stayed, the more exhausted he became. News about anti-war protests in America constantly reached Vietnam, making Bob gradually feel that soldiers like him were no longer supported back home. He slowly fell into depression. The only place where he felt he could breathe was Saigon. Whenever he had time off, Bob and his friends would go into the city to drink, listen to music, and try to forget the war for a while. It was there that he had several brief relationships with Vietnamese women. 13 months later, Bob returned to America, but he never truly escaped the war. He suffered frequent panic attacks, became anxious around crowds, and slowly lost the confidence he once had. Bob tried to rebuild his life. He got married, had 4 children, and returned to school to become an engineer. But the marriage eventually fell apart, while his depression only grew worse. At one point, he even had suicidal thoughts. Bob was later diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Years later, when his life had finally become stable again with his new wife Debbie and 2 more children, Bob believed he had truly left Vietnam behind him, until that fateful email appeared. Bob was stunned to realize that Vietnam had never truly disappeared from his life, because in the very place that had haunted him for nearly half a century, there had been a son whose existence he never even knew about. Bob found Debbie in the kitchen and confessed, "You need to see this email I just got from the Ancestry website." The 2 of them sat in front of the screen together. Debbie softly asked her husband, "How do you feel about it, Bob?" Even though Bob's memories of the woman who gave birth to his child were vague, he was certain that the 45-year-old man was his son, because Sun had been born only 6 months after Bob left Vietnam. Bob stared at the DNA results and replied, "DNA doesn't lie." After that, Bob and Debbie searched for the name Sun Vo on Facebook. He saw the profile of a 45-year-old professional musician living in California and immediately froze. Could this really be his son? He then checked the birth year on the man's profile and saw that he was born in 1971, just 5 months after Bob returned home from Vietnam. Bob realized there was a very real possibility that this was his son. The sudden discovery left him overwhelmed and confused. He wondered whether he should contact Sun first. Afraid that his son might not want to accept him, Bob decided to wait instead. 2 weeks later, Sun really did reach out to him first. Bob was shocked and emotional at the same time. His son did not hate him at all. In fact, he had been searching for him for more than a year. Emotionally, Bob said, "Maybe, in the end, something good did come out of that war." Son wrote to his father, "About our DNA match and the very high possibility that I am your son from Vietnam. I just wanted to say hello, and you are welcome to contact me anytime you'd like. Or not. I'm not looking for anything. I just think it would be very interesting to communicate." "Of course," Bob replied immediately. "I wasn't sure whether you would want to hear from me. I'm just as surprised as you are, but I would very much like to know more about you." He also shared a little about himself and his life after Vietnam, before ending the message with, "I truly hope you've had a good life." As the two father and son continued talking, Son felt that his father was surprisingly easy to connect with. The two of them also bonded over their shared love of music. Not long after, Bob even bought plane tickets for his son and daughter-in-law to fly to Huntsville and reunite with the rest of his family. Perfect reunion with no distance after 45 years. While waiting to meet his son, Bob could not help feeling nervous about the reunion, because for 45 years, he had never even known that son existed. Bob kept asking himself, "How will I react? And how will my son react?" But when son finally arrived, nothing felt awkward the way Bob had feared. The bond between father and son formed almost instantly through their shared love of music. Everyone in the family warmly welcomed him. Son described the reunion as surreal. He got to meet his half-siblings for the very first time, and he was able to sit down, play music, and sing together with his father. Son became even more emotional when he realized how happy his father was to discover that he existed. His brothers and sisters also welcomed him as part of the family right away. Mandy Noercloud, 42 years old and one of Son's newly discovered sisters, shared, "I was a little sad when I thought about how we had gone so long without knowing each other existed. I was also incredibly nervous before meeting him, but it turned out wonderfully and we had such a great time together." Meanwhile, his 36-year-old sister Audrey Nore described it as an amazing experience to suddenly have an older brother whose existence she had not even known about just a few months earlier. After their first family reunion, Bob and his wife also planned to visit Son's family during Thanksgiving. Then father and son happily sang the song Dream together while Son played the guitar.
When I want you, and all your charms whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream.
Later on, the two even had the chance to stand together on a stage in Los Angeles, singing the songs they both loved.
Let it be me. Don't take this heaven from one. If you must cling to someone, now and forever.
Well, when I got that email, I was actually, I thought I was being punked, in a sense. You know, as I absorbed it more, I finally realized, yeah, okay, this is my father. I guess I should probably reply and and reach out. So I did, and then later on he reached out.
Well, I was stunned, and I thought, I really don't know if he wants to have a father, or if he even wants to know anything about me. So I thought I would wait until he made the first move, and then I would respond.
I think it was on our first phone call, right? Mm-hmm. We just started talking, and then I told him I'm a musician, and I think you asked what I played.
Yeah.
And then I said I play bass, and then he was like, "Hey, I play bass too." And I think that just kind of just opened up the conversation, and And I believe that's when you said, right, that he must be my son, or or something to that effect. Well, there you have it. You know, it's confirmed.
Well, I was convinced from the beginning that son was my son.
To me, it was. I mean, it was intense. You know, it's my dad. I don't know what a dad is. You know, until that very moment, or I never had that really. So you know, it was intense. So yeah, and it was obviously just an introductory phone call. So we were really just kind of getting to know each other, kind of just feeling ourselves out. And what struck me was just we talk alike, our cadence, our pauses, how we, I don't know, it was just it was uncanny.
It really hit me, and I know I broke down. I cried for a while.
I had the phone call. It could have been like a week, 2 weeks later. I went to a gig on a Sunday, and as I was driving home, it all just hit me. Just the floodgates opened, and I was just bawling as I'm driving, steaming up my glasses, and I missed my turn for the highway, and I was like, where am I? I don't even know where I am. Oh my God, I felt my dad.
We did walk through the streets of Saigon, just trying to reconnect with the places that I'd been there.
Yeah. Because that was the first time that I've been back since I left as a child. So, you know, some of the streets, like, it just, you know, it's those memories, the smells, the visuals. You're like, oh my God, I do remember this is how it was. And it just go right back to being 2, 3 years old. It was really interesting. Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool that we did that together. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. All right. This right here is what I remember. I lived in Vietnam as a kid. Down here. I was 3 years old. Came down here. Places just like this. Wow. Uncanny.
This is a picture which was often confused with the US Embassy.
That was it. Wow.
Bob shared emotionally, "I'm grateful that my son found his father, and I'm grateful that I have another child in my life. I always wished my children would share my love of music. Now I'm so happy that one of them finally does." Son proudly said, "I can hear my own voice in my father's singing." And for the first time in nearly half a century, Bob Nore no longer saw Vietnam as only a dark memory. Because in the end, from that war, he found his son again.